The father of the internet is finally retiring. It's a title that sounds almost mythical. After all, the internet exists because a hearing-impaired mathematician became obsessed with solving communication problems. That mathematician was Vinton Cerf. But how can one person be called the father of something used by more than 5 billion people around the world? Well, in Vinton Cerf's case, the title isn't an exaggeration. Long before social media, smartphones, streaming platforms, and AI chatbots existed, Cerf helped create the technology that made the internet possible. Today, after decades of shaping the digital world, he is stepping away. And his story is also the story of how the internet itself was born. Today, we take connectivity for granted. You send a WhatsApp message from Delhi, a friend receives it in New York within seconds. You stream a YouTube video, you make a UPI payment, you join a Zoom call. All of this feels normal. But in the 1960s and 70s, computers were like islands. Different networks existed, but they couldn't communicate with each other efficiently. There was no common language, no universal system, no internet as we know it today. And that's where Vinton Cerf entered the picture. Working alongside computer scientist Robert Kahn, Cerf helped develop the Internet Protocol Suite, or something called TCP. The name sounds technical, but the idea was revolutionary. TCP created a common set of rules that allowed different computer networks to communicate with one another. Think of it as creating a universal language for computers. Suddenly, networks that were previously isolated could exchange information. That breakthrough laid the foundation for what would eventually become the modern internet. In fact, decades later, the same basic protocols continue to power much of the internet we use every day. So why is he called the father of the internet? Of course, no single person built the internet alone. The internet was the result of contributions from countless engineers, researchers, and scientists. Even Cerf himself has repeatedly emphasized that it was a team effort. But his contribution was so fundamental that he became known as one of the fathers of the internet. Without the protocols he helped create, connecting billions of devices across the world would have been far more difficult. It's similar to building a global highway system. Many people built the roads, but someone still has to design the rules that allow everyone to drive on them. One reason Cerf became so passionate about communication technology was deeply personal. He has lived with hearing loss for most of his life and has worn hearing devices since his teenage years. His wife, Sigrid, is also hearing impaired. The two repeatedly met through a hearing aid specialist decades ago. Because traditional voice communication could be challenging, Cerf became fascinated by technologies that allowed people to communicate through text and computers. Over the years, he became a strong advocate for accessibility in technology, repeatedly arguing that accessibility should not be treated as an afterthought but should be built into products from the very beginning. In many ways, that perspective was ahead of its time. Today, features such as captions, a speech-to-text system, real-time transcription, and accessibility tools are considered essential part of modern technology. Well, Cerf was advocating for those ideas long before they became mainstream. His career spanned more than 50 years. Cerf didn't just help invent the internet, he spent decades helping shape its future. Over the years, he worked with government agencies, technology organizations, and major companies to expand internet access and improve digital communications. For the last 2 decades, he has served at Google as its chief internet evangelist. Yes, that's his actual title. His role involved thinking about the future of the internet, promoting new technologies, and helping guide discussions around digital innovation. And even in his 80s, Cerf has remained deeply involved in conversations around emerging technologies like artificial intelligence. So why are we talking about his retirement? Well, the internet is now so deeply woven into our lives that it's easy to forget it was invented by real people. People who had no idea that one day their work would support social media, cloud computing, online shopping, streaming platforms, and AI systems used by billions. Cerf belongs to a generation of pioneers who built the digital foundation of modern society. His retirement marks the end of a remarkable chapter in technology history. It's a reminder that many of the systems we rely on every day were created decades before smartphones, apps, and even the World Wide Web existed. One may wonder what the father of the internet, Vinton Cerf, thinks about the future. Interestingly, Cerf believes many of the lessons that helped internet succeed could also become important for AI as well. Recently, he argued that AI will need open standards, interoperability, and common protocols, much like the internet did in its early years. In other words, the challenges facing AI today remind him of the challenges the internet faced decades ago. And perhaps that's fitting, because few people understand technological revolution better than someone who helped create one. Vinton Cerf isn't a household name, but chances are you've benefited from his work today. After helping build the technology that connects billions of people around the world, the man known as the father of the internet is finally retiring. And while his career may be coming to an end, the technology he helped create will continue powering the digital world for generations to come. Had you heard of Vinton Cerf before today? And who do you think are the technology pioneers whose impact we use every day without even realizing it? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.